Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today what we've got, you may remember the unboxing for my 2338 Milwaukee Road diesel. So when I purchased this diesel, it was already said that it didn't move, the lights came on, and nothing happened. So I'm not even going to put it on the track. Just like when I get any of the new locomotives, I give them a once over first, see what's going on the inside, make sure everything is safe, and then send it out on the track. So just to quickly go over my purchase here, this came from trains.com, and I love purchasing from them because what they say in their descriptions is exactly what you get. Now this one, as soon as I took it out of the box, I had this powerful, powerful smell of Tremclad, or maybe in the US you don't have Tremclad and you have Rust-Oleum or whatever. So I immediately knew this thing was repainted. It's a good paint job. The masking is quite good. You can see where they masked. You see the gloss there over the 2338. That's the original marking there. But the rest of it is kind of a flat black as opposed to that semi-gloss that I guess they would have come as. So don't really care about that. Still a good price. I love the locomotive. So what I want to do is I want to crack it open and see why it doesn't run. And again, I'm not a huge diesel fan, but my son is, and I thought this one looked pretty cool and it was a decent price. So, okay, right away, I see there's no horn. So someone's already been in here. I can see there's a lot, you can see it in the light here. Someone's gone over this with some kind of a grinder or something to take off a lot of the paint. And, yep, that's definitely a fresh coat of paint on there that I smell. I see a little wire holding up the battery tray. I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to be that way. So everything looks hooked up. That's pretty weird. And there's a bit of some kind of a funky connection going on here, like they replaced the light, but didn't get a long enough wire to do it. The E-unit handle is rusty. Wow. So that'll have to be addressed. Yeah, and there's some rust on the E-unit itself. So normally when I get locomotives, this is kind of the state they're in. A bit of a hack job has been done to them. But that's fine. I mean, I know what I'm getting into when I'm paying a certain price for these things, and I want to get them like this because I like fixing them. So, first thing I want to do is there's a lot of white. I don't know what this is. I'm going to get these bulbs out of here. And I'm going to get my green Scotch pad and try to get that off. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, they painted the holders of these things too. The bottom half of the holder is black. The top half is its natural color. Bare metal. Okay, so we got that pretty cleaned out. It's just the light. It's going to make good contact, so I can clean off this bulb a little bit because it's got some corrosion on it too. Set that back in there. All right. Other side, same thing. Got a lot of white powder on it. Really not sure what that is. This bulb's okay. Doesn't need to be cleaned up. Motor. Next thing. There's not really a whole lot that can go wrong with these for the newer guys. Especially when it's stripped down to this basic. This one doesn't have the double motor. You don't have to worry about that. It's got this single motor, so the power just comes in, up through the pickups, up into the E-unit. The E-unit sends it out to the motor, and then also changes the direction of the motor itself. So there's really not a whole lot to worry about on these. That's pretty dirty, yeah. As you can see, we got a lot of dirt here on the back of the armature commutator thing. So we can start with this. Again, just a green Scotch pad. Let's get a new one that doesn't have that white schmutz on it. Green Scotch pad, I get them from the dollar store. It's a pack of 3 huge ones, and they usually last me a good couple of years anyways, before I gotta buy some replacements, unless of course my wife grabs some to do some cleaning of her own, or I need them for the dishes. That being said, though, they're excellent for this, for cleaning a lot on these local Lionel locomotives. So they're quick, not a lot to it. And then we will get a tooth flosser and clean out those grooves, because they definitely need to be tended to also. And you just stick it in the hole there and scoop out whatever's in there. You can also use a flathead screwdriver if you have one that's small enough, or if you have a little piece of wire, you can just get it in there and work out any of the guck, carbon, whatever is in there. One thing I can do as well is I'm looking at these parts here. I believe it's the field, that's what it's called. And I don't like a lot of the rust on it. So it looks like it's just some surface stuff right now. So I'm just going to take, again, my green Scotch pad, no chemicals on it. You don't need to put anything on it. Just dry. And see how that comes up already nicely. So I'm just going to get as much of the rust off as I can. With the motor seated into the frame right now, it's just easier to work with that way. The ground wire is still solidly attached. I don't want to scrape too much there and get that enamel off. Let's get this out of the way. Give this a quick rub up here. Now the brush holders themselves, they look pretty good actually. I'm not too worried about them. So again, we'll get the green pad, trim it down into a little strip. Careful not to cut the fingers. Cut the pad, not the fingers. There we go. Perfect. Just feed that in. Rub it around. That's abrasive enough that it'll get out anything that is possibly in there. And I can tell by just looking at it, there's not. Call that good. Okay. I do want to take the motor out, and for this, it's just a screw in the bottom of the truck here, or the drive wheels, and pull them apart. Oh, and it's got the ground spring. Wow. That's something you don't see every day. That's usually gone. Okay, so this won't lift out unless I take that pin out. So right here is a little clip, and that is holding this whole assembly in, and also holding the bearings in. So get that out. I can just sneak a screwdriver in behind it because I don't have the puller. And be careful that you don't shoot this thing across the room and lose it. So there we go. The pin's out. There's the bearing right here. There's the washer, and there's the bearing itself. So we can just carefully lift that up. And you want to be careful because the little tiny bearings in there, you don't want them to fall out. Then you try to find them again, or you just have to buy new. So we'll put that in there as well. And there we go. And there's a second bearing plate right here. Okay, so just make sure you get them both and you don't lose your bearings. Don't lose your bearings. Okay, so there's a little bit of surface rust on this field. So I'm just going to give it a quick little buff with my green pad. And again, I'm not going for, I want to see my face in the reflection of it, because you won't. I just want to get any of the dirt, the heavy dirt, old grease, stuff like that, just off of it. Then I can get a rag here, and I can wipe off these windings too, because they've got some dirt on them as well. And have a look at the motor itself. And again, lots of dirt in here. This has been used, which is awesome. And now it's on to its life with me. So we're going to give it just a bit of a servicing. So get that washer out of there. Plenty of lube in this, which is great to see. So it didn't run dry. That's definitely not the reason this thing wasn't running. So there we go. I've got the fields cleaned up, coils cleaned up. You can just get a cloth in there and kind of wipe out a lot of this excess gunk in here. Like so. I think I'm going to run up and get myself a Q-tip and not be so lazy. Okay. Now I got some Q-tips. Now I can get in here and really wipe this thing out. All right. So now I can start putting this back together. So I want to wipe off the old washers and bearings and get all the old stuff off of them. To put some new fresh grease and oil on it. That. Drop my washer back in there. Like so. And then we're going to put the motor in, but we got to put the bearings back in first. So it's the flat washer, bearings, and another flat washer is the stacking order here. And this washer does have some rust on it. So I want to get that off. I don't want to use sandpaper to do it. I don't want to roughen it up. I just want to clean this surface again. So again, we go back to the green Scotch pad, give it a couple swipes, and I can already see this washer is coming up nice. You can see that it's starting to shine now. We're getting a lot of that surface rust on it, off of it. If you do have a new washer, you could just throw it on. I don't. So I have to recondition these old parts, which is fine. They're still going to work. Put the washer back on. And the bearing. And all the bearings stayed in there. Good. Put some grease on it. And drop the bearings back on. Like that. That's going to work out nicely. Now we can put this back into the motor housing thing, this part. Bearing seats in nicely. Let's take a look at the other end. So I'm going to put some grease on this. Like so. And we'll drop her back in. Oops, backwards. That would be backwards. Done. Pack it all back down. And don't forget to put your retaining clip on. Very, very important part. Will keep the whole thing from spinning itself right off. There we go. All back to normal. I'll get the excess grease off of that. Now I can drop the brushes in and put this motor back together and call this part of it done. Seat it back. Get your flathead, and you can twist the brushes so that the brush springs fall back into their proper groove. Just like that. And we can put the motor back through. We can put on the ground spring, which fits over just like that. And our truck, while it's out, let's just give it a shot of grease in there. So we know that's done. And that's done. And we'll just screw it back in. So that is the motor quickly serviced, lubed, cleaned up. We're not going to have any problems with that one. Now, it says oil right there, so I am going to do just that. There we go. And that will get absorbed in. There's a little cloth wick thing in there that will draw it down. And that's going to be good. Now, this E-unit. This E-unit's got quite a bit of corrosion on it. As you can see, the handle is totally rusted. That's not good at all. It's a horrible mess of solder joints on this thing. I don't know what's going on with it there. I see the pawl is rusted completely. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to unsolder this. And I'm going to take the unit apart and do this properly. Because this looks... Now we can take the E-unit right out and give it a proper servicing. So this is... That's messy. That is rusted. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is probably going to take some sandpaper for that. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the E-unit itself, the bottom part of it, off. And the way you do that is you get yourself a pair of pliers. This is all press fit. You get a pair of pliers in there and just open that up wide. There we are. That's that. Yeah, this has seen better days. The fingers are in good shape though. That's good. Maybe it's just got so much corrosion on it. There's corrosion up in that barrel too. Up down the center of the electromagnetic coil. So we'll just kind of wipe that out. Because it's just, there's a plastic sleeve in there, so it's not like it's metal in there or anything. The pawl, though, is metal. So we'll use our trusty green pad and give that a clean. If you know you've got it completely cleaned, it's one less thing you have to wonder about. Should I have done that a little better? Should I have cleaned it? The barrel is the next thing. This is where it makes all the contacts, and you can see it's pretty dirty, pretty dull as well. So it's a good idea, definitely, to get this part cleaned off. The cleaner this is, the smoother the whole thing's going to work. All right, so that's glistening now. You can see that's a beautiful part now. So we'll put that there. The fingers themselves, there's this white stuff all over here. I don't know what this was. So the handle itself, the contact is totally rusted because this handle is rusted. And the only way to get this off, too, is, again, you have to get pliers in here and pop it open. The problem with this piece is the coil, because you don't want to wreck the coil. Ideal way to do this. But this one doesn't look like it's going to come without a fight. And I really, really, really don't want to scratch the enamel coating that's on that wire that's in the coil. So if there's another, sometimes this works also, where you get a screwdriver in here and pop it up. But I don't, this isn't looking too promising right now. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get some sandpaper into this handle on this little button contact piece and get the rust off of it as best I can. It's looking better. At least the parts that count. As you can see, just that little silver button there peeking out. At least the contact part is clean. So I don't have to worry about that. The E-unit's still tight. The handle's still tight, which is good. I think maybe I'll just leave it. We'll leave her there for now, because there's really no point in trying to scrape all this rust off. All right, so reassembling the E-unit. You have these two slots here and here, and that is where the guide pins for the pawl go, and it goes in this way, drops in, get them in those little slots, and you're good to go. The cylinder, if the E-unit's upside down, coil pointing down, these teeth should be sitting this way so that they hook under the pawl. If they're backwards, this whole system doesn't work. And the cylinder just rests, it has two pins on either side of it, and they sit in these holes here. So what I end up doing is pull the pawl out a little bit. And I usually just try to set things all up in on one side. So I'll get that rested in there. One final squeeze, and we're good to go. Okay, so that is the E-unit refreshed, at least. Maybe not a rebuild on it, but we got it refreshed, which right now should help, and we'll see exactly how much it helps. So we're going to put this back now. Okay, so I've got my test track set up here, and we're going to see what happens with our newly repaired diesel here. If we got lights, we we've got one direction, neutral. Yep. Oh, there we go. We got them both. It's a little bit hesitant, but it's running, which is great. It's better than what it started out as, which was not running. So we're going to throw the shell back on this, throw it on the track, hook it up to some cars, and see what it does when we give it a proper run around. I'll see you guys over on the track. Okay, so we got the 2338 back on the track, all hooked up. We got some cars ready. Let's just see first what she does. And we got a forward, neutral, backward. Nice. A little bit of hesitation there when it goes into neutral, but it's got it. Very happy with the purchase. Again, got it from trains.com. And like I said, they originally did say that it just lit up and it didn't run, so I knew what I was getting into. But a little bit of a cleanup got her going again. Even though she was kind of restored poorly, it's still a great looking locomotive. In another video, I'm going to attempt to put the horn back in this because I do still have the battery holder. I have the relay and I have the horn. And we're going to try to put that all back together in this locomotive from my spare parts bin and see what we get. All right, guys. So let's hook her up to some cars and send her around the track. So that is the 2338 Milwaukee Road Jeep, cleaned up, lubricated, some general maintenance. Got her back on the tracks, pulling some freight cars and doing really well, pulling them good. And she is a quick locomotive, that's for sure. I definitely could put on a heck of a lot more cars than what I have on her right now. The next thing I want to do to this is take that spare parts bin horn and drop it in there, but that'll be another video for another time. So right now, thanks again guys for tuning in and watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope maybe it helped some of you guys get some of your Jeeps back out on the tracks and running around. So until the next video, once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. All right, guys, take it easy.